All right, so for today we had a new mentor text, just like we've talked about in Mrs. Oka, my class. We're just wanting you to try new things. So we're going to see what this author did for this mentor text, and we're going to try to take the information that he did and kind of create our own. So I'm going to go through this and just kind of read some to you, and kind of talk about the conversations that I had in class today. This video is going to be for Wednesday today, which is the 23rd, and then it'll also be for Thursday, the 24th of March. So that's what this is for. Okay. Keep in mind that when you get back to class, you're going to want to get a copy of this. So make sure you ask that from me, and then you can put that in your sandbox. And okay. All right. So it says, I wrote 1,000 awesome things for 1,000 straight days from 2008 to 2012. After an 8-year hiatus, I began another 1,000 awesome things when I felt old anxiety dragons coming on during the pandemic. Launched April 7th of 2020, and a new post every single day till the pandemic is over. All right, so it says, note, often Neil would include photographs of him experiencing his awesome things. So you're going to see that there is a picture of this first one, but the other ones don't necessarily have a picture. But this is something you could get into and kind of think about for yourself, is to find pictures of certain things that you do. So let's just kind of see what he did here. So the first one, on this one, it says, when cats do stupid things, and then he writes the word awesome. So again, it's 1,000 awesome things. So the fact that there's 1,000 awesome things, after each one, he's going to say awesome. That's something that a writer can do to be like, yeah, this is awesome. So putting out the positive things that are happening, even though it is kind of silly or kind of whatever. So right here, this is a picture. So I'm just seeing that this cat, was like, what's in the bag? And so he puts his head in the bag, and then he just lifts up because he can't take his head out of the bag, and then it just gets stuck. So but he's seeing the awesome part of that, like the funniness, the positive side to that. The next one, we have games you made up as a kid. So it says, let's turn off the TV, put away the game boards, and toss the deck of cards in the trash. Yes, it's time to play all the made up games you played as a kid. Let's chat about some of the greatest. So this first one he has, Erupting Volcano. It's kind of like the floor is lava, which I think a lot of you have seen that game show, or the whatever show it is. And maybe you've played something similar to this. But it says, here's where you pretend the floor is covered in molten lava and you have to jump across the furniture without falling in. Sweat socks on slippery coffee tables, ottomans with wheels and top-heavy bookcases can be dangerous. House rules dictate whether riding the golden retriever across the room is allowed. Either way, I'm pretty sure you can use a blanket as a life raft to get to dinner. So I know for myself, like at my house right now, my girls play this all the time. They'll say the floor is lava, and they'll yell at me because my feet are in the lava, which is just the floor. But they'll use pillows. They'll throw pillows into the quote-unquote lava, and they will jump on that to kind of keep themselves. But that's an awesome game. It's an awesome game to play when you're kind of bored and not knowing what to do. Next thing, you have cardboard roll sword fights. Remember those long and thin cardboard rolls left over when your mom finished wrapping your Christmas presents? Those were perfect for trumpeting announcements around the house, practicing robot voices, or using as pirate telescopes. After that, they made for great lightsaber duels, Robin Hood sword fights, or gentle beating sticks. Finally, after a giant whack to your brother's forehead caused them to spiral apart, it was time for some nunchuck battles. Everybody wins. Awesome. So again, just things that maybe you created the game, maybe you even do a game now, to where it just kind of passes time, but it's fun. It's awesome. Like it's something that is kind of cool. Okay, so kind of think back to maybe there's something that you do with your sibling or whomever whenever you're bored. Okay. The next one, peeling a hard-boiled egg and getting a big chunk of shell all at once. So it says, it's time for an open egg surgery. Sure, maybe you don't make it in med school, but now's your chance to tenderly crack open the egg skull and reveal the soft white brain below. After you successfully remove a giant chunk all at once, make sure to delicately leave it on the plate before holding the egg under a light to examine it for the shell dust particles. All eyes are on you in the operating room, theater, of your kitchen. Get cracking. Awesome. So again, awesome. Now this feeling, like I understand this one. If you've never peeled a hard-boiled egg, maybe ask your parent or an adult around you if they've ever done that, because it is quite a big thing to get a big chunk of the shell off all at once. That's a an accomplishment, because usually like you crack the egg and then you can just take little bits and pieces of the shell off because it doesn't all come off at once. Or sometimes you try to take part of the shell off and it like it's attached to the white part, and so it like takes that off as well. So it leaves like a deformed looking egg. So that's kind of a cool one. Something I also do think about with this one is like an orange. If you're peeling an orange, that's also like, you know, when you first start it, you get little chunks taken off. But like it's more satisfying to be like, yes, it all peeled off. Right? You're getting that peel off. Something else is that I connect to with this one is if you take a piece of paper and you're trying to cut it in half. So if I had this little piece of paper and I'm trying to cut it in half, my mom told me is like if you fold it in half and then you crease it and you keep going back and forth like this. So I know this is not the same thing as cracking an egg, but you keep going along the seam because maybe you don't have scissors and you want to tear it in half. So the more you do this, the more it breaks down that part of the paper. And then this for me, like that's awesome for me. Okay, so I could like write about that. Folding paper to cut it right in half without using scissors. I could say that. Okay. All right, so onto the back. There's some more here. So it says, when your dog's really excited, you're back home. It says, greasy forehead, sore ankles, and a dull headache cap. Your traffic jammy ride home from a long day at work, dragging yourself to the door, your stomach rumbles and grumbles. As you picture the bland frozen burrito you're gonna nuke for dinner. Yeah, the day got you down, the day knocked you out, but suddenly you unlock the door and your mood zooms sky high as there's a loving and waiting bark, 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 bark. Somebody's happy to see you. Awesome. So maybe you connect to this because maybe you have a dog. Maybe you have an animal that greets you when you get home. But maybe you don't. Maybe there is something else that's there to greet you that brings you joy or that's awesome for you. I know for me, sometimes just peace and quiet. When I walk into my house and there's no kids, there's no other person in the house, like that's what my awesomeness would be, to kind of bring me out of the mood if I had a bad day or something. Okay. The next one is high-fiving babies. That's awesome because they don't usually leave you hanging. If you give a baby a high five, they just want to keep doing it over and over and over again. Just like when you show a kid something new, they want to keep doing it over and over and over again. Okay, so again, awesome. The smell of rain on a hot sidewalk. There's just something about this. There's just something about the smell of rain on a hot sidewalk. It's sort of like the rain cleans the air, completely hammering all the dirt and grime particles down to the ground and releasing some hot, baked-in chemicals from the pavement. It smells best if it hasn't rained in a while and the sidewalk is scalding hot. Then it sort of sizzles and steams up into a big, hot, intoxicating whiff. Awesome. So again, we're saying what is awesome? We're saying awesome after it. Maybe you're like, you know what? I don't like the word awesome. Maybe you're like, you want to say yes or yay or cool or whatever that is. But just trying to kind of think through how you can write like this author. What are some things that you think are great? And like putting something after it. This part right here, I'm not really sure why that one's there because that's just the same as this. So I'm going to X that out. During the 2020 pandemic, these are just some other things that were mentioned. When sidewalks were clearing of snow and salt, you can ride your skateboard with your friends again. When the restaurant with good pickles gives you extra pickles. That's awesome. That's something that's great. When you finish a great book and the next one in the series is already out. This one speaks a lot to me, I feel like. Flipping over your grilled cheese to discover you perfectly cooked the bottom side. So this could also even, like other classes today, they talked about how like roasting a marshmallow is very similar to that. To see like, yes, that's awesome that I did like that. Being almost cartoonishly over the top friendly in the grocery store because you know you look like a bank robber. So again, going back to masks and that kind of thing. I know like when we first started having to wear masks everywhere, I would go into the bank and I felt it was like a little awkward. Like I felt awkward, but everyone else had a mask on too. But it's like I'm just here to get some of my own money out of my own account, not to rob a bank kind of thing. When the kid screaming in the background of a video conference isn't your kid, making it through an entire conversation without anyone mentioning coronavirus, and being really proud of yourself for using a little bit less toilet paper than usual, because the whole toilet paper going on shortage and all that kind of stuff. So what you're going to do is you're going to think through what are some things that you think are awesome. that bring you that joy. That, and again, you don't have to use the word awesome, but what are some things that bring you joy? Some of the things that were mentioned for classes that I had today, one student was like, you know what, finding a clean hairbrush in the house, like that's awesome. Because like when you brush your hair, you get lots of hair stuck in there, and sometimes if we don't clean out the hairbrush, it's really has a lot of hair in it. Something else that we talked about, I'm trying to think of other things. My mind is not working right now. Sorry, I can't think of anything right off the top of my head. We talked about a lot of them today, but they'll probably come to me here in a second. So what I want you to do is, I'm going to show you. You're going to email me in order to get your credit for today. And you're going to email me awesome things that you think are awesome. Something that sticks out to you that, so you're going to say at least 5 of them that make you feel awesome. Look back at the mentor text. You can rewatch to listen to some of my examples, which I've not given you yet, which I'm going to talk about now. But maybe like this is something I enjoy. Something that I think is awesome is taking a blanket right out of the dryer and covering up with it. Like that's awesome. I know for me, if I wanted to have some ice cream at home, and I know that the dishes are all in the dishwasher, and then I go over to the silverware drawer and there's 1 spoon left. Like that's awesome to me. So just kind of thinking about those different things that you like. If you get stuck and you don't really know what else to write down as well, you can kind of take some ideas that were on the mentor text that I kind of read through. But you can also go to the reading writing course and click on mentor text folder and click on this one. It's a 1,000 awesome things blog, and you can actually look on here and get some ideas. So this may give you some other things. Opening and sniffing a pack of tennis balls. They have a certain smell. The last crummy triangle in a bag of potato chips. So I think about that one for pretzels. I eat a lot of pretzels, and so if I'm at the bottom of the bag, there's all the crumbs. But sometimes I reach in and I bring out like a whole pretzel, and like it's an awesome moment. Let's see, picking up a Q and a U at the same time in Scrabble. Getting grass stains. Like if you want to look at this, you can. If you click on it, it'll actually take you and kind of talk you through some of the things as well on there, so you can kind of look at that. Let's see. As gross as it may sound, picking your nose. But again, you can look down here and see why is that a thing. So you can read about that. Because think about it. Not necessarily picking your nose, but like if there's something in your nose and you finally get it out, that's kind of an awesome feeling. All right. Well, anyway, so you can get some ideas from here if you want, or you can just look at, kind of rewatch and kind of look at some of the things that were on here. If some of these speak to you, use that. Or if you're like, hey, yeah, this one kind of speaks to me because I'm thinking about marshmallows. Roasting marshmallows. You can say roasting marshmallows. You're going to, where am I at? Here we go. You're going to give me some examples. So I would just number them and say 1 and say whatever it is. So maybe roasting marshmallows to perfectly golden brown. And then what I'm going to put after that is I'm going to put my word. I'm going to use theirs. Awesome. But maybe you don't want to say awesome. Maybe you want to say yay, or maybe you want to say cool. I don't know. But you can pick a word. It doesn't have to be the word awesome. I had another student who said, well, can I do the opposite? Instead of saying awesome, can I also do not awesome things? So yeah, if you wanted to kind of play around with that too. But I want you to number them like that and kind of keep it to how they were on here. So you can kind of look through that and numbering it. So numbering it, saying what it is, and then at the very end say awesome. You don't necessarily have to explain it the way they're doing right here. At least 5 things. And you're going to send that to me in an email. And then when you are done, you're going to email, like I'll get that email and I'll put your grade in. If I do not get an email from you, I am going to put it in as missing. So just make sure you get that email to me. All right, thanks.